Time now for the RV Podcast Interview of the Week. Interesting, entertaining, and helpful information about the RV lifestyle. Here's Mike with this week's interview.
Well, to help us get into the right possible groove for finding those difficult to locate open campsites is our friend Mark Koep, and a walkthrough on his site, campgroundviews.com. First of all, hi, Mark. How are you?
Hey, Mike. Doing good. How you doing?
I'm geeked. The camping season, I think, is here. People are out moving about, and I thought no one better suited to help us learn how to navigate the challenges of finding open reservations than my friend Mark Koep. So, Mark, let's talk about your site for starters. I know we have a big surprise that we'll have coming up in a minute, but first of all, a lot of people are in the planning mode right now, and they hear all these stories. We can't find a spot. We can't find a spot. How can we help them with finding a spot? And maybe we can actually bring up your site and show them. We should tell our podcast audience that we do have an accompanying video on this that you'll find at rvlifestyle.com. And those of you who are watching it on YouTube, you should know that there's a full blog post on this at rvlifestyle.com with the podcast. So that out of the way, over to you, Mark.
Yeah, Mike, it's going to be a busy camping season, flat out. We did a survey last week of 2,000 campground owners, and 50% of them said that their advanced bookings are up significantly over average. Everybody's just going camping. So when we pull up the site, campgroundviews.com, a lot of folks they never believe me when I say this. Mike, you've been camping long enough. I've been camping long enough to know that this is true. You can find a campsite anywhere you go, as long as you're willing to travel a little bit to go do it. And the best example,
and do a little research.
Exactly. So if we can see, they can see my site right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at your site. They're looking at your site. It says, look where you're going. And that's the part we're going to show you in a little bit. But here we go.
The first example I'm going to pull up is Yosemite Valley. And the reason I do this is that there's only 5 campgrounds on the valley floor in Yosemite. And everybody will say Yosemite is full. But if you notice, my default radius is set to 50 miles. And Mike, how many campgrounds are there within 50 miles of Yellowstone National or Yosemite National Park?
Probably 75, 100.
107 campgrounds within 50 miles of Yosemite Valley floor. So within that, you can figure the average campground has 60 sites in it. That means there's 6,000 campsites within 50 miles of Yosemite National Park. I guarantee you can find a campsite any night of the year as long as you're willing to do a little bit of research and go find them. So the first rule in finding a campsite, and it's going to be nutty all summer long, everything's going to be full up, is to remove your expectations of staying in one designated campsite in one campground and open your horizons to a little bit wider radius. If you want to find another cool trick on this, you can click on this big map button up at the top of the screen here. I'm going to click on that. It'll take a second to load. This is actually pulling our entire database within Campground Views, which has 16,000 campgrounds. You'll notice all these icons going. And you can actually zoom in on the icons and then drag the Google map around to see all the campgrounds. And as you can see, this opens up your entire opportunities. You click on the little icons, and the icons will bring up whatever that state park or campground is. You click on the name, and that takes you in to get more information to book that site or whatnot, and be able to go ahead and go camping, even though everything is, quote, full. So go ahead.
Yeah. So my point is the first rule is that set your radius to about 50 miles around the attraction that you're going to see, be it a national park or, maybe a certain city. 50 miles is not a bad commute, in these days. And look what we found around Yosemite, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I knew there were a bunch, but when I see it on the map like that, and again, the folks listening to the podcast, be sure you go back and look at the show notes and watch the video that we'll embed. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and if you notice, all you have to do once you're on a search page is update the search terms to change your location. So I can quickly bounce around all over the country and see the different camping spots and campgrounds that are within a certain radius of all sorts of different locations. You want to go to Tampa, Florida, you just type it in and it'll automatically update the map over here. And if you want to look around even more, say you drag this map, once you drag it, simply click search this location. That'll update your search result and be able to take you into that radius area to see the results.
Let's do a real life example for a moment. And maybe we haven't talked this over. Nope. I don't know how it's going to go, but we'll give it a try. Let's talk about Yellowstone. And let's see what we can find around Yellowstone. And we should pick a date, maybe. What do you think? We'll pick... I don't know. How about the second weekend of May, something like that?
So we don't pull data because the problem you have with any date specific searches is that the different reservation engines are different. So like recreation.gov for the public parks, private parks. So we don't pull any date information, but we'll give you the park information. A big thing on Yellowstone is, and it's a good example, Mike, because a lot of people go to Yellowstone as their first camping trip, for the summer. It's their big trip. They bought the new RV. They want to go there. Some key things, if you've never been to Yellowstone, is that Yellowstone is absolutely massive. If you want to drive the Grand Loop, it's like 150 miles just for that loop of driving. You are going to be driving in Yellowstone. So we actually encourage people to open the radius up to about 100 miles around Yellowstone to really get a lot of campgrounds, such as the campgrounds in West Yellowstone, the Island Park area, over in Cody to the east, up north to Red Lodge. And as you see right now, most of the search results are the national park campgrounds that are within Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks. But this year, important thing for these campgrounds, all of the campgrounds are now on the reservation system, the recreation.gov reservation system in those two parks. So you have to book them in advance. There are, though, a lot of Forest Service campgrounds located around Yellowstone. So, for example, up in the northern part up near Gardner, Montana, there are a number of Forest Service campgrounds just outside the gate that people are unaware of. Also, our little hidden spot, if you're coming from the west, like LA or California or something like that, there's a town called Island Park, Idaho. You've never heard of it, but it's actually the longest main street in America. It's like 25-mile long main street for Island Park. There are a ton of Forest Service campgrounds in this region. Absolutely beautiful. And you're only about 45-minute drive from the entrance to Yellowstone, of which you'll be driving 150 miles inside of it. Anyways, that's kind of our insider spot to go.
Then there's also, North End. We always have gone around Silver City up on the North End.
And that nobody ever goes to that area, right? So that's always a nice.
We do. Quiet. That's why we go there. Yeah, we have never in the heat of summer. When everybody's there, we've never been unable to find a pretty great spot within just a few minutes of the north gate of Yellowstone by camping, looking in this area up in the north.
Yeah, and that's a great spot. That whole northern roadway into the park. Plus, you can go then out to Red Lodge, the Cook City Silvergate area. Is that what you're talking about right here?
Yep.
Yeah, because you can go back down that what is it? It's not Beartooth Highway.
It is. The Beartooth Highway. Sure, it'll run from the north end over to Cody. It's a spectacular drive. I don't know if I'd take it in a Class A, but I would take it in a C and certainly a B, and I would do it in a small towable. But we're making the point here of not being having such tunnel vision that we think we have to be in one location only, because chances are you're not going to find that.
And that's going to be the key to camping this year, is to not fixate on a certain location, but to fixate on the journey. If there's one thing that RVing is taught, anybody who's RV'd for long enough knows that it's not so much about the end destination, it's about that journey. And if you can find some interesting spots to stay along the way, like, for example, you ever been to Lander, Wyoming, Mike?
I have indeed. Yes, I have.
And Lander's awesome because there's Sacagawea's grave is at this Fort Washakie right here. You would never know that if you had never stayed in Lander, Wyoming. You can go tour the gravesite. There's this cool statue there. And then they also have a river called, or a canyon. It's a state park called Sink and Rise State Park. And the river actually crashes into a rock, vanishes, and then pops out of the ground a mile later downstream, and you can actually see this whole river. And it's not a creek, it's a river. It vanishes, goes underground, and pops out on the other side. And that's an example of getting all these really cool destinations that you can find when you go camping.
There's another area there that we have stayed on the way to Tetons in Du Bois, Wyoming, which is a beautiful little cowboy town. In fact, we liked it so much, we ended up there spending our wedding anniversary there and stayed there an extra 3 days and delayed going into Yellowstone and Teton because it was such a great town. Walk us through what we can find out about a campground from campgroundviews.com.
Well, we'll use the Du Bois example. So we will have, we'll have information on the campground, like, their name, their address, basic stuff like that. We'll have written reviews. We will have videos, so videos shot by other campers that you can actually click play on and go through and see. And these aren't viral videos. These aren't going to get your kids excited. These are for you and I.
Why don't you roll that video right there if you can?
All right. So this is I'll mute it. It's 30 seconds long, and the whole intention is simply to give you a look at the campsite
and
the campground.
There we see it's flat. There's some trees around it. By the way, I think this is the ranch that we stayed at. I think this is the campground that we actually stayed at that we like. But look how nice it is. You got some cottonwood trees, and you can see that the site is flat. You've got your picnic table. All of that stuff is just really helpful when you're booking a site. Okay, so say I saw that site. I saw a couple sites I like. I wanna go there. What do I do then from campgroundviews.com?
So we'll have their phone number directly here or a link to their website. You would then go to their website and go ahead and complete the booking.
Oh, and that's that easy. And look, there it is. It talks about its location. It tells you where they are and that they're taking reservations right now for not only 2021, but I guess they were talking about they had some stuff up from last fall still, but you can check all the amenities that they have. That's it, the Longhorn Ranch campground. And
was that the place you stayed, Mike?
That was the exact place we stayed. Yes, yeah, it was great, and that's Du Bois, which is an actual real cowboy town, and we had a great time there. I want to really go though to the secret stuff. The secret sauce of campgroundviews.com. And Mark, for our audience, I've known Mark for a number of years now, and I know Mark has been working on this with a whole team of data analysts. We kind of have hinted about it before, but I think we're going to actually be able to see it now. This is coming soon. This is the next phase of technology when you are going to book a campground. You saw how nice it is in that video we brought up with the campground to see it, but it gets even cooler. And Mark, I don't want to steal the thunder, but show us what's coming and how people can even become early adapters of this.
Mike, I appreciate it. And you actually hinted at the problem we were trying to solve. So Campground Views is great. You can find campgrounds, but are the sites available? Is the site I want available? We've heard all that, right? And when I say we on Campground Views, we've heard from you that you wish you knew what sites are available. We've been playing around with 360 video for a while, and we like it. It's like Google Street View. You can go through the campground and see the sites. Let me hit play. This is what you're about to see here if you're watching this on video. If you're listening to it on the podcast, what you're about to hear is literally the future of the way you're going to book campgrounds and campsites in the not too distant future. This is utilizing 360 video, and as I hit play, you can see we're moving through a space. One of the things I'll point out is that I'm able to drag the screen and look around, just like Google Street View, right? I'm now seeing the whole roads, the campsites. I can see everything that's going on. But if you notice something here, Mike, there's a little red icon floating over here. If I click on that icon, my play stops, and I now get this information is being pulled straight from the reservation engine on campsite number 2 that I'm looking at. I know when my check-in times. Go ahead.
This is live. This is live. Real. Yep.
Yep.
This
it's live data.
It's pretty
It's
cool.
a recorded video, live data. And say I'm now looking at the site, so now I can see how big that site is. I can see the roadway. Can I easily back in or pull into that site? We also then, this is the kicker. So if this site was available during these dates, this would have been green, and I could click book now, and it takes me immediately to be able to book that particular site at the campground. So now you can do, Mike, you've done this. I've done this. Your listeners and readers have all done this. They go to a campground they want to stay at, and they ask to drive through it so they can take notes, say, hey, site 10, site 12, and site 15 will fit us. We like those sites. You don't need to do that anymore. We have this. And over this last season, we went out and we captured 400 locations for the states of Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and Nevada. We have all the recreation.gov properties, and we are working hard to bring this experience for all of those recreation.gov properties so that we all can stop guessing and actually start seeing the campsites.
So you would go to a campground and look at the sites and look for green, right? A green that would show that it is available, and then you can actually book it.
Yeah, and to tell you how early this, we just finished today the date picker. So you'll be able to set your dates of when you want to stay at this campground, and it'll automatically update the information on these sites so that the sites that are available during your stay, those will be green, the ones that are available.
Wow, that's an amazing thing. Now, of course, we're all planning to do our RVing this year. Is this a pipe dream, Mark? I know you got the demo working great, and you got the stuff. When can people kind of think that this is available?
So we are currently pre-selling. So the way people are going to access this is via membership. So Campground Views will continue to be free, but to access these 360s, it'll be a membership. We're pre-selling those memberships with our goal to have the 400 videos by July of this year, all of them up and live for you to experience. So if you're booking for May, sorry, we don't have it ready yet. But if you're thinking a little bit ahead and you want to take advantage of this, you can lock in now and support us as we build in literally changing the way we'll find campsites. Then this summer, if there's some people be like, what about California? What about Washington? What about Oregon? I'm from California originally. It was on fire last year and it had COVID, so we couldn't get there to film them last year. This summer, we're capturing all the rest of the recreation.gov properties, and by the end of this season, we should have everything up for you.
Oh, this is a great service, and I can't wait to actually get a hold of it myself. Frankly, July and August and September are my favorite times anyway, so to be out that way, and that's what we're looking for. Well, that's a sneak peek. They can get lots more information at campgroundviews.com. Campgroundviews.com is absolutely free. You can learn about how you can be an early adapter of the 360 videos, which is kind of an extra option, but it all is explained on the site. Is that right?
It's all explained on the site. Just simply click on the support the site up here at the top, and you'll get more information. At a minimum, you'll get a box that asks for your email address. Sign up for the free account. We'll keep you in the loop as things are going along. And when you want to jump on, you can jump on. But we're excited about this. I'm excited about this because I believe that this solves the biggest problem any of us campers have, which is where the heck am I going to camp?
And it's tell everybody how long you've been working on this, Mark.
The idea was 2.5 years ago, and we have been plugging along pretty steadily since then. Any entrepreneur, I've always heard that entrepreneurs are not overnight successes, and I can absolutely attest to that. This has definitely not been an overnight thing. You know it, Mike. You know behind the scenes how hard we've been working on this thing, and I'm committed to it because I know it's going to make everybody's life better, right? If you make people's lives better, you at least done something good for this world. So that's our goal.
Well, it is the future, I think, of RV reservations, and our folks who watched the YouTube video actually saw it. Those of you listening to the podcast, again, go back to show notes for this episode, and you'll be able to actually watch this, listen to the interview, and watch it all embedded as a video. Mark Koep has been our guest. Mark is a longtime friend of the RV lifestyle, and Mark, we'll see you out there on the roads, and we'll tell everybody as soon as this is available, but they can get, did I hear right that they can get special pricing right now if they sign up in advance?
Yeah, exactly. We're giving them 50% off of what the membership cost will be in the future. So, if you want to see this thing really happen, join.
Okay. Campgroundviews.com. Mark Koep, our guest. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you.